Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Sorry, I'm a little
absolutely.
late.
That's okay. I just bragged about you for, a good 10 minutes. So
Ah.
now everybody knows how amazing you are.
Well,
Welcome
thank you.
to the show. Thank you for being here.
My pleasure. I'm happy to be here.
Yes, absolutely. So the Scorpion, I mean, you've done so much. As again, you guys, Chris Casamassa, he is a stuntman and actor. He's an extraordinary man, black belt extraordinaire. I mean, we have to learn how to get a 9th degree black belt. I'm going to learn today. Hopefully you can teach me everything he knows. I'm going to move this camera so we can also get Chris in. Chris, so this is your camera here.
Wow, I have my own dedicated camera.
Yeah,
How cool is
and
that?
then we're going to try to get in close together on this one. So let's talk from the beginning. So 4 years old, you're learning martial arts, and your dad, Lou, has taught you martial arts your whole life.
Yes, yeah. I started when I was, like you said, 4 years old. Like any kid, I want to be around my dad, and my dad was always at karate because he had a studio. So the easiest way to be around him was to do karate, and he just told me that you can start at whatever age you want, but the deal is simple. Once you start, you can't stop until you make it to black belt. Once you make it to black belt, if you want to stop, you can. But I was hooked on it. I fell in love with it. So
I know,
just kept going.
It's one of those things that's hard not to fall in love.
Yeah.
I was telling, I've told all my friends, I've been in martial arts for about a year and a half now, but the funny thing is I wish that I did it earlier. I really wish that I had that, because the level of discipline that I've learned in my life, in all areas of my life after studying martial arts, and just being an overall better person. And I've been in the health and fitness industry for a few decades, and the one thing that I've learned is that people always ask me, well, if you do martial arts, what do you do to work out?
Right.
And people don't realize, and I've heard of some of your interviews too, people are like, well, what do you do to work out? It's like, I do martial arts.
That's right.
And what a phenomenal workout it is.
Yeah, it's probably one of the few activities that works everything from, I always tell people, it works everything from your toes to your nose.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a full body workout, and that's helps keep me in shape. I still hit the gym and do other things like mountain bike riding or snowboarding, other cross training activities, but for the most part, martial arts is what keeps me healthy and fit.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So we started out. So I love the story and how you got into Mortal Kombat and playing the Scorpion, and you were competing, and they saw you competing. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that's actually how I got involved in show business.
Okay.
Through competition. I was out on the tour, and some producers were in the audience when I won the Battle of Atlanta.
Yeah.
And they came up to me and a couple other guys that had won the different divisions that night and asked us if we wanted to be in a TV show that they were producing about martial arts.
Okay.
And that show ended up becoming WMAC Masters. But from the moment they asked me to the moment that it happened, it was probably 6 months, 7 months.
Wow.
So, people had asked us about that previously in the past. Hey, do you want to do this? Do you want to do this? And we always thought it was, yeah, whatever. We would say yes because we were excited to do it, but nothing ever happened. So this was the first time that somebody actually took action and followed through.
Okay.
So it was about 6 months later, we got a phone call and said, hey, remember that TV show we were telling you about? We're going to, you're going to be getting on a plane and going to Orlando and filming at Universal Studios to film the pilot for WMAC Masters, which became a big hit on Fox.
When you got into the industry as a stuntman and actor, how was that to see yourself on camera? I mean, I watched you, and I mean, your skills are so exceptional. To fight and do combat and then to be an actor are completely two separate things, even though people don't really realize that. How is it to see yourself on camera?
Well, I enjoy seeing myself on camera more than, I like moving pictures rather than still pictures. For some reason, it's crazy, but growing up, I was a big fan of Bruce Lee, as most people of my age were in that generation. Yeah. So I always wanted to be like, wow, I want to do what Bruce Lee did, and one of these days I'm going to release all our home movies that me and my brothers and my dad used to shoot, where we pretend that we were ninjas in the field across the street from our house doing these fake fight scenes. But that really had sparked our interest to do it. So, but with the acting part of it, I got some advice at a very early part of my career, and I followed, and it paid off very well for me. And that was given to me by Pat Johnson, who is a phenomenal martial artist, but he's also the guy who's responsible. Well, pretty much he helped launch my career with a small movie called Shoot Fighter that I did with a friend of mine, Mike Bernardo, and then Bolo from Enter the Dragon was in that. Yeah. That was like kind of my first fighting on film type thing. Where you could see my face because I did the original Karate Kid. I did some background fighting in that at the tournament scene. But so the advice I got, Pat Johnson said, listen, he goes, Chris, they can take a great actor and make him look like a martial artist. but they can't take a great martial artist and make them look like a great actor. So he goes, my advice to you is to take acting lessons if this is what you want to do. And so I did.
Yeah.
And then when that time came and I got some word, okay, now it's time for you to speak and talk, then it was a much easier transition. Sure, my talent opened that door,
Yes.
but now I've got to be able to back it up and be able to talk and emote and do the things that actors are supposed to do. So people always ask me, like, well, how do I do what you did? And that, so I always give them that same advice.
Yes.
Like, if you're a martial artist, you're listening to this, and you're awesome in martial arts, and there's so many super talented younger generation martial artists out there now, they want to get into the business, the advice is the same. Take acting lessons, because no matter how talented you are, it doesn't matter. If they have a great actor, then you'll end up being the double for that actor instead of that actor.
Yes.
Right? If you can do both, act and do your martial arts and your fighting, then you're way more valuable to a production company.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree. And how long did you do your acting classes for?
For quite a few years, probably seven years.
Wow,
yeah,
okay.
I studied with a few great acting coaches, and so I had a good time. And then occasionally you go in audit classes and do that, because it's like martial arts. Acting is an art form.
Yes.
Dance is an art form. Martial arts. So these things take time to develop. And by no means, like, I'm a black belt in martial arts.
Yeah.
I'm no black belt in acting. That's for sure. Maybe I'm like a blue belt.
Right?
Yeah.
I know, it's funny, when I got into acting, I was like, I'm going to be terrible at this. It was just not something that I really wanted to ever do. And I was actually kind of embarrassed in drama class, and when I took drama in high school, I had this most embarrassing moment of my entire life, actually. So I think it kind of sort of stunted me from wanting to get into acting. I had a cold at the time, and we were, I'll share it with you guys, because of course we got to tell the most embarrassing moment of my life.
Why not?
So I had a cold at the time, and I was just getting over this sickness, and we were in class, and one of the kids, other kids made me laugh. And I went, laughed, but this, enormous bubble of, snot came out of my mouth, or not my mouth, my nose, and everybody in the class called me Snots. So that was my new nickname. So I hated acting after that, but I got back on the horse after later in years. But it was one of those things where it kind of things as a child will kind of maybe deter you from following your dreams and stuff. But I actually have a great acting coach as well, Mel Novak. He's a wonderful man.
I know Mel.
Yeah,
Mel,
he's so
I was
amazing.
in a movie with Mel. One of my first movies I did was with Mel Novak. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
that's
It was. I'm
amazing.
thinking. It was it Revenge of the Ninja? No, it was with Tadashi Yamashita, Mel Novak. I can't. Sword of Heaven.
Okay.
Sword of Heaven with
nice.
Mel Novak. One of the first things we did. My dad was even in that one with me.
Yeah.
Master Tadashi Yamashita. So yeah, I know Mel.
That's amazing. He's
Yeah,
such a
small
great
world,
man.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's such a great man. We saw him at the Martial Arts Hall of Fame Awards last Saturday.
Oh, great.
Yeah, he was receiving an award, as a lot of other people there too. So tell me a little about the relationship with your dad then. Your dad obviously, was closely working with you and teaching you. That must have been quite a bond that you had with your father and still have.
Yeah. Listen, my dad was and is my hero.
Yeah.
And he's the guy I always looked up to, in the martial arts world, besides Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was it. And he, I give him all the credit for the success of our company and our business and our style, because in the mid-1960s, he did something that literally was unheard of, and that is he blended martial arts styles together, right? My dad holds black belts in 10 different styles of martial arts, and he never really, his baby, the one he loves the most is judo, because that's his first style he got black belt in. He actually got that in Japan at the Kodokan under Risei Kano. So that's the one that he loves the most, but he decided, well, judo's great, and these other styles I learned are great, so I'm going to put them all together and create one. And then he came up with the name Red Dragon for the cultural symbol of that. But when he did that back in those days, I mean, if anybody listening or watching knows anything about martial arts, you didn't do that. You were either a Japanese stylist or a Korean stylist or an Okinawan stylist or whatever it was. You didn't cross the streams, as it were. So he got challenged quite a bit, because there were people like, you can't do this and you can't do that. And so my dad's favorite saying that stuck with me over the years was, he's like, you can't tell me what to do. I'm an American. The last 4 letters of the word American are I can. So if I want to mix these styles together, I'm gonna. And he went through a ton of battles. And back in those days too, if another martial arts guy came into your school and challenged you and you lost, then you had to close your school.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the way. That's like the
that.
way. Oh, my dad's got some great stories. He's the guy you should actually interview, because some of the old school stories there. But I tell people that to say, look, that was 53 years ago, and we're still open.
Amazing.
So my dad's kind of a badass. as far as that
Kind of,
goes.
yes.
And, listen, our company's been open 53 years now. We've got 12 super successful locations, and, we're out there moving and grooving and having a great time. So now my job is I oversee ops for the company, and I help train the trainers that are in the schools.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
I talked a little bit about the schools. We'll go back into that. Tell me what your most challenging experience in your industry has been.
In the martial arts industry?
Yes.
Lately, my most challenging thing is helping educate other people who are passionate about the martial arts on how to run a martial arts business.
Okay.
There are so many talented martial artists that are passionate and they want to share their knowledge and information, but they lack the skills on the business side because at the end of the day, the martial arts is a business.
Yes.
And especially if you decide to go all in, right? If you're that committed to where this is, for me, this is my day job and my night job. It's all I do, right? That's it. So if you're that committed to it and you're going to make that jump, then part of my passion right now is helping other school owners to raise the level of what they're doing so they can earn a good living, they can live a better lifestyle, they can impact more people in the community, right?
Yes.
It's great if you have 4 students and those 4 students are awesome, but what if you had 400 that you could help and empower and make, right? Because I know I'm a product of everything that's possible with the martial arts, discipline, focus, just the go for it attitude, everything I've done, the movies, the books I've written, I can attribute all of that back to my martial arts training, right? If I didn't have that discipline and focus, so if you can change the life of someone through martial arts, then that's a powerful thing. And especially look, in today's society, kids need it. They need us more than anything.
That's right.
So I'm out there coaching other school owners besides, our Red Dragon schools, but people that aren't even with our company, which again is something else that didn't happen back in the day. Like it was, this is our way and you can't have, these are our secrets. Like I'm kind of like, screw that now. Like here's our secrets, here's what we do, here's why we do it, here's how we're able to last in business for 53 years. Follow this blueprint.
Wow.
Like we're trying to make it, for lack of a better term, idiot-proof for you so that you can run your business in a way that allows you to follow your passion without selling out.
I love that.
Yeah.
So have people been adapting to these principles and learning how to run the martial arts schools?
100%, yeah. Because it's just because, listen, they love the martial arts, but they don't know the other side of it.
Yeah.
Like, crazy things like paying your rent, paying electricity, payroll, taxes, all these different things that, unless you've gone to college, you've gone to school, you've taken a business management or learning course, and most martial artists don't.
Yeah.
You kind of just do it because you love it, but that's not the way to run a business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So I coach and consult almost 100 school owners around the country to help them do what it is that I do to raise the level of the industry, right? Because I'm in this industry too.
Yeah.
And every industry has its great people and it has its not so great people, and I'm trying to eliminate the not so greats and to bring, it's the rising tide theory, right? If I raise the tide, all the boats are going to lift up, and that's why I'm out there trying to do what I'm doing and helping and coaching them. We're actually doing an event here in California, August 3rd and 4th, a business training event for anyone that's interested in expanding their business and learning. I've got some great speakers coming in.
Where is it going to be at?
It's going to be in Anaheim at the 4 Points Sheraton,
Okay.
which literally is right next door to Disneyland. So if you're not from California and you love Disneyland,
Okay.
you're going to be able to walk to the front door of Disneyland. That's how close.
Yay.
Yeah, it's a really cool.
Awesome. Well, we'll share that information on my Facebook and stuff so we can help promote that as well.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
I
That's
live-
great.
I
Well,
live
Dan
there.
will be there. He's right there.
Is he? That's awesome.
Yeah, he's right by Disneyland.
Right on, man.
Fantastic. So, have you ever sat and thought what your life would be like if you didn't practice and study martial arts?
No.
Really?
I really haven't. It's
Yeah.
just been a kind of a vision quest of mine, for lack of a better term. When I was younger, that I wanted to be a pilot. I wanted to be an astronaut and a pilot when I was younger, but I'm colorblind.
Okay.
So you can't be. There's colored lights. Like you got to know what they all mean. So that dream kind of got put out little quick there when I was younger. But then I was just so into martial arts that I never really wanted to do. I tell people I only had one other real job in my entire life. I worked at a pizza place for about 3 weeks, and I actually got fired from it for putting. I got fired because I put too much cheese on the pizza. So the guy was trying to cut costs, and I was like, "But the people really like it. It's cheese." More people were coming in. No, it cost us too much to do it. So I did it again, and so he didn't fire me. He demoted me to dishwasher, right? So
Yeah,
I was
he's like,
dishwasher,
"We're getting
and
you out."
that lasted like 3 days, and I'm like, I'm not going to work for you anymore. That was like, and I was 17, I think, when I did that. That was the last real job I had.
Wow,
Yeah.
interesting. Well, I read that you had taken a year break at one point in your career. What was that like for that year that you took off? I remember hearing you had said that it took you about 3 years to kind of get back to where you were.
Yeah. So I'm hyper competitive, in case you haven't
Yes.
noticed. But when I was 17, I had a couple things going against me. One, I at that time was a third-degree black belt. Two, I was 17.
Yeah.
And three, I was a teenager who thought he knew everything. Right?
Yep.
Because ultimately what I found out was the older I got, the smarter my parents got. So if you're young right now and you think your parents are dumb, trust me, the older you get, the smarter your parents are going to get.
So true.
But when you're 17 and you're third-degree black belt, you got this chip on your shoulder, you think you know it all. I didn't know anything, so literally I just decided, well, I'm just going to take a break. I'm going to go hang out with my friends and do whatever. And I did that for about a year, maybe 10, 11 months. And then I went back. But the people that I was ahead of in line, suddenly I was, instead of being the number one guy in line, I was like 4. And I'd never been that low in the line. We'd line up for class. It's the 4th guy down. I was like, this sucks. But that year off, like you said, because it's true, it took me 3 years, not only to catch back up to them, but to pass them up.
Wow.
And I think actually my dad did that on purpose. He's like, I'll show him. Which is good. It taught me humility and to be humble, and I learned a lot. And, at one point, too, he actually kicked me out of the school because 17-year-old thinks he knows everything, doesn't want to listen to his dad, even though his dad was his hero. But he didn't tell him then. Sorry, Dad, but you are now, and you know that. But he said, you can't train here at the school anymore. If you want to train, I've got a guy that you can go train with. Now, unbeknownst to me at the time, he had made this deal with a guy by the name of Steve Fisher, who was a number one fighting champion, kata champion, is a student of Tadashi Yamashita, who we talked about earlier. But he basically had made a side deal with him saying, listen, my kid won't listen to me, but he'll probably listen to you, and I want you to beat the crap out of him. So he pretty much, so I had to drive from, now we live in the San Gabriel Valley, and I had to drive down to Hawthorne and Inglewood twice a week to go train with Mr. Fisher, his green belts were beating the crap out of me at that time. But again, taught me a great lesson, and I learned a ton from him, and he ended up becoming a real close friend of mine and a coach. And he really didn't teach me anything that my dad didn't already teach me, but it's that coming from someone else impact, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he was saying all the stuff my dad was saying, but I'm like, oh, well, Mr. Fisher said this, and my dad would just look at me and smile and be like,
I know, I love that. My coaching clients are like that. Like, well, I read this, and somebody told me. I was like, oh, that's great. So now it's just solidifying what I've told you and reinforced over and over. I'm like, congratulations, you've hit a new level, because that's the way we're with our parents anyway, and we don't want to learn from people that are closest to us.
Yeah.
And
well, listen, even I have 2 kids now who are doing martial arts, and even there's times where I have to take the instructors at my studio and like, hey, do me a favor. Tell my kid ...
Yeah.
Which is the same thing I've been saying, but to them, I'm dad. Like, oh, Dad.
Yeah.
But then they hear it from one of the other senseis at my school, and like, well, Sensei, told me this, and I'm like, oh, wow, she told you that? That's cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. What do you think? Oh, she's so smart. She's got it going on. I'm like,
right? You're like just grinning.
but hey, it's working. It's helping the kids. So
fantastic. How old are they?
My daughter just turned 17, and my son is 14.
Oh, congratulations!
Yeah, thank you.
That's fantastic. So let's talk a little bit about being the Scorpion.
Okay.
What was that like? Tell me your most fond memory of that. I mean, it's got to be such a great experience.
It really was an amazing experience. I got to go to Thailand, spend almost a month there, which was awesome. But my biggest, the 3 biggest things for me I can think of right now were, number one, when I actually got the role. Like the moment the director shook my hand and said, welcome to Mortal Kombat, you're going to be Scorpion.
Yeah.
Like I'll probably never forget that moment. It was so surreal. Because I was a big fan of the video game, and a long story about how I actually got the part and did all that, but my 2 favorite characters were Scorpion and Raiden. Like those are the ones I would play all the time, and that role, like we didn't even know it was open.
Yeah.
That it could have been a thing. Had I known ahead of time, I probably wouldn't have done as well as I did during the audition process.
You would have been nervous.
Yeah, because we just, they didn't say there was any roles open. They said, well, the movie's been cast, we're looking for background fighters, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So that moment, number one, is surreal. The second really surreal moment was when I was sitting in a Planet Hollywood in Orlando. So we were filming the pilot for WMAC, but we had already shot the Mortal Kombat movie. We're sitting in the Planet Hollywood, and all of a sudden on the screen was the preview for the movie. and they showed the scene where Sub-Zero and I walk into the ship for the first time. I was part of it.
Yeah.
So seeing that sitting there, like I got even thinking about it again.
I got
goosebumps thinking about it. I was like, wow, that's so cool because
cool.
I'd done a bunch of smaller films and little TV stuff, but that was the first like major motion picture that I was in. So to see it somewhere, and of course I got instant street cred with all my friends on the cast. They're like, oh, that's gonna be you. I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm Scorpion. Because they're like, some people were fans of the game and some weren't.
Yeah.
So some people are like, Scorpion, what, are you a soap opera character, Scorpio? Like, what is that your sign? Like, what are you?
Yeah.
So you didn't know. And then the third and biggest surreal moment was going to the premiere at Man's Chinese in LA, like doing a full red carpet premiere.
Nice.
That was really, really cool. And to see it on the big screen for the first time.
Fantastic.
Yes.
I can only imagine.
Yes, yeah.
So also too, you
Yes.
got to fight Chuck Norris.
I did.
Let's talk about that. I mean,
Yeah.
how did that come about?
Well, it came about because in this industry, as you probably already know, it's not who you know, it's who knows you.
Yes.
So ultimately my goal was to be as respectful and kind on set as I was in my studio, and then people like that because if you're a jerk on set, you work once and that's it, you never work again.
Yeah.
So I made some good friends and some good connections, but Chuck Norris knows my dad. Right,
Yeah.
so my dad and Chuck Norris and like Ed Parker, who's passed away, and like the old school Junior, all those guys, they all kind of came up together,
Yeah.
you know. So they knew each other, you know, through passing and through the years of their hundreds of years in martial arts.
Yes.
So I got a call to go do Walker, Texas Ranger in Texas. A friend of mine, J.J. Perry, who's actually a big second unit and then main director now. But he said, "Hey, come to this. We're gonna have you do some stuff on the show." We did some stuff, and again, I was just fortunate, right place, right time. The day I was there, Chuck happened to be on set.
Yeah.
Right, and he goes, "Oh, I know your dad." And da 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 da. It's like, "Oh, that's cool. That's awesome." And then so I was gonna do a different fights, and he goes, "No, I'm gonna fight you." And so which was cool.
Your
I was like,
heart was just-
I was like, dude, you fought Bruce Lee. Now you're gonna fight me. How cool is that? So it's I can say, hey, Chuck Norris beat me up in Walker, Texas Ranger.
Yeah, playing Batman.
That is so amazing. That is so amazing. So I want to talk about the programs that you have in place for the kids. I think the Fast Five and the Kick and Fit. So I was telling the viewers and guests listening tonight, what your programs are all about. I'm a big supporter of anti-bullying and just teaching self-defense and things like that. So can you tell the viewers and listeners a little bit more about what your programs are?
Yeah.
offering?
So all my programs that you talked about were kind of basic versions of where I'm at now, and everything is kind of coalesced into the book I wrote, which is called Bully-Proof Fitness.
Yeah.
Right? It's the ultimate guide for parents in the battle against bullies and bellies and how to make your kid feel like a super ninja.
Nice.
So I've taken all the like smaller programs I've done, I put them all into this. I put them into the book, and like you, I believe that if everybody studies martial arts, the world is going to end up being a much better and safer place, right? I
Absolutely.
said a little bit ago that the focus, the discipline, the respect that I've learned in
Yes.
martial arts has carried me well throughout my life. And I'm a firm believer in that, which is why, same thing with my kids. They're both black belts now, and they are kind and respectful. And if not, then I'm legally allowed to beat them up because, no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. That's a joke, people. all right?
Yes, it's a joke.
It
Everyone.
is, all right.
Calm down.
But it was just a sparring accident, officer. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
No, so there's that component of it because I am going around the country constantly speaking at events, going to martial arts studios and public schools,
Yes.
trying to get that message out. I have a program which is literally called Bully-Proof Fitness, which is
Yeah.
why it's the name of the title of the book, but it teaches kids the dangers of bullying behaviors. There are so many kids who don't even know that they're exhibiting the behaviors of a bully. So what I
Yes.
do is I create the awareness. Here's what it is. Here's how you're classified as it. If you're doing these things, and then I can literally see in the audience the kids' faces go,
Wow. I
right,
did
they have that, yeah. And so it gets them to shift their thought process. I teach them a little bit of just a small snippet of martial arts because
Okay.
that's, most public administrators in schools think, oh, well, you're going to teach them how to beat people up, and that's not what we do. Like,
No.
ultimately, my job is simple. I am out in the world creating a generation of superheroes, not super bullies, right?
Love
I'm
that.
creating the protectors of the people that can't protect themselves. That's my job. That's my mission, my passion. That's my purpose. That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
And ultimately, my goal is to impact 1 million kids by 2025. Now, so
Wow.
far, I've been able to do 50,000, so I'm on track to get to
Great
1 million.
job, great
but
job.
with interviews like this, and thank you guys so much for having me here,
Yes.
but shows and through the book and the animated series that we're working on now, which is why, and again, I apologize for being late today, but I literally was in a meeting with the producers for the people who want to produce. They're going to turn my book into an animated series, which is going to help me get to my million kid market, probably even beyond that, right? Because it'll be something that's on like Amazon or Netflix or Hulu, YouTube Red. It'll be somewhere where millions and millions of people can see it and impact it, and they can learn those lessons. So really, that's what it is, and that's what we're doing. And the other part of it is the fitness component. They say, I think the stat was 92% of kids who report being bullied are reported for one of two reasons. They're being made fun of their looks or their size or weight.
Yeah.
92%. Like, that's huge. Like race, being picked on because of the race is like 5% for kids, school-age kids. So the fitness component is very, very important. But obviously, I don't feed the kids, and kids don't feed themselves. It's the parents. So one of the things in the book is the educational part for the parents. Because when I was a kid, and I'm a parent myself, there was never a class of, here's how to eat. Exactly. Here's how to feed your kids. Here's how to do it. You got to get like basic 101 food pyramid, but you're not really taught anything.
Yeah.
So ultimately, my book there's a food plan in it, there's a shopping list in it, like there's no guesswork involved. Plus the thing for the kids to work out, it's not hours and hours a day, it's 5 minutes a day. Yeah. Like if they can do it for 5 minutes a day, every day, and who doesn't have 5 minutes, then they can be bully-proof and fit. And that's ultimately what I'm out there trying to do.
That's fantastic. Any way we can help, please. I mean,
this interview alone is helpful enough.
Well, this is fantastic. And I touched on, talking about the parents. It stems from the parents. It's the leaders, and it shuffles down. And a lot of people don't realize it. And the obesity rates that are up, I mean, it's astronomical, and it starts with the parents, because I being in this industry, health and wellness industry, I look at the parents, and then I look at the children, and I can see, obviously, if the parent is overweight, the child is overweight, and they're not being properly educated, and also it does have to do with financial part of it as well, because a lot of people, it's cheaper to eat unhealthy than it is to eat healthy, unfortunately, in this world, which is really sad. But to educate them on that's fantastic, because we don't know what we don't know.
Right.
And
100%.
And that's the thing. I had to go through schooling and study for years and years and years to understand about eating. I actually suffered from eating disorders as a young girl for almost 20 years.
Wow.
And body dysmorphia. And, people were cruel and mean, and I've been bullied before. I've been cyberbullied, and again, on your parents. And my bullying happened being cyberbullied on Facebook, and because of the way I look, being fit and muscular.
Right.
So, we look at it, and it's happening all over. It's not just to one person or to just one kind of pack of people. It's happening all over. So if we can educate our kids and educate the parents and the teachers on how to do this. I'd love to know some of the signs that when you're going in and educating these kids, what are some of the things that you say to them about being bullies, where the kids are going, wow, I kind of do that?
Right. So we talk about the different aspects of contact, and the intimidation factors and things like that. So like what I'll do is, one of the things I do is I say, listen, I want you guys to tell me if I'm being a bully, and I'll call a volunteer from the audience. So I do a variety of actions to see if yes, I'm being a bully or no. So first one's most obvious. I just take a piece of paper and I crumble it up and I just throw it right at the kid's face. Boom. Funny enough, half the audience usually, no, you're not being a bully. And I'm going, okay, so what if that was a rock? And then they go, oh yeah. And I go, listen, even this piece of paper, it is. Because I'm using physical force to intimidate another person. Wow, right? Yeah. So again, they're like, oh, okay, I get it. So then I'll do the same thing. I take the paper and I throw it like I'm trying to hit them, but I throw it right at their feet. Am I being a bully? No. Yes, I am. I'm still trying to scare this child. Right? So by the third or fourth example, I throw it, next to their head, or I pretend to throw it. Then the kids they start to get it. That light bulb moment happens. We're like, oh yeah, no matter what you're doing, you're trying to intimidate this. And I go, yeah, I'm using force to create fear. That is a bullying behavior. And then I'll do the same thing with words. I'll look at the kid and go, after school, I'm going to kick your butt. Right? Yeah. I use a little more colorful language so the kids start laughing. Yeah. And so the use of words, the same thing. So there's the verbal bullying, there's the physical bullying, there's emotional bullying, there's cyberbullying. So I take them through all these behaviors, and I say, listen, if you're exhibiting any of these, you have the potential. I'm not saying you are, but you have the potential to become a bully. So then they all start to get it. Then we flip that. We role play the reverse of it, and we use. I'll pull 4 or 5 kids up and I'll say, listen, this kid's going to come up and try and play with us, and I'm going to do relational bullying where I'm saying, no, you can't hang out with us. We're the cool kids and you can't. Yeah. So I teach them. It's a whole interactive thing that we do. but we make it fun for them to learn because what I found through my experiences, the more fun it is for them, the more engaged they are, the more engaged they are, the more apt they are to remember it. Right, so instead of me standing up there giving an hour boring lecture, it's kind of an interactive thing, which is why the animated series is going to be so cool, because I physically can't be everywhere on this planet, but through the power of movies and TV and video, I will have that ability.
That is so amazing. That is great. So when do you expect that to be out, the animated series part?
I expect it to be out tomorrow. The reality is...
You're like, it should be.
Yeah, it's probably going to take 4 months to a year.
Okay.
To get it all done from where we're at right now.
Okay.
You know, they say that that movie making, even animated movie making, is like having a baby. It takes 9 months, and then you live with it for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a process. Yeah, we're very early in the process, but I'm excited about it, and I've got a couple of if anybody follows me on Facebook or Instagram, I've got some animated cells that they put together that I'm going to release over the next couple of weeks or so. Okay. So that people can start to check it out.
Okay, perfect. And how do people get involved with your schools? Red Dragon.
They can just, if they're in our area, they can just come to any one of our schools. We're in the San Gabriel Valley by Pasadena. Of course, our website is reddragonkarate.com, so you can go there to find out more and find the locations of where we're at. It's the easiest way to do it.
The tournament coming up.
A tournament coming up?
That's right, we do.
Oh,
look at
Dan knows
on fire
everything.
there,
Dan's always on fire.
Yeah, Sunday, June 10th is my dad's tournament, the California Grand Nationals. I think it's our 45th year that he's had this tournament. Okay. Yeah, so it'll be a good one. It's open to all styles and all systems.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
So let's talk a little bit about the martial arts. How do you, kind of, when kids come into the schools, how do you pick and choose what kind of martial arts they would study? Do you have, where you say you would be great at karate, you would be great at this? And how do you kind of like present that to them?
Well, we don't do that. What we do is we talk to the parent, right? So in the interview process of the parent, when they want to bring their child to us, we simply ask, what specific benefits are you looking for your child to gain by training with us, right? Every parent has a different reason they want their kid to do martial arts. So it might be, my kid's getting bullied. My kid needs confidence. My kid needs, the one I get most common is, my kid needs discipline and respect, right?
Yeah.
Some parents tend to think it's better to be the friend to their child instead of the parent to their child.
Yes.
But so they're bringing them to me for that, but that's fine. If I can help them and empower them to be a better parent, then that's great. Maybe they just are looking for an activity, or they want me to help get them in shape, right? So once I know what the benefit is, then I can tailor our program to their needs. Now, our company's called Red Dragon Karate, and it's a mixed martial arts style, so I don't have to blend you to my art, right? If I was just a Japanese stylist or a Korean stylist that does kicking, if you're not very flexible, you're not going to like my style very much. So our system that my dad put together is great because our art can be blended to each person, which is nice.
Amazing.
That's why I call my dad the Michelangelo of martial arts. He's still creating, even today, he's 77 years old, and and he's still, he comes to our owners' meetings and tells us all we have no idea what we're doing, and gives us, yeah, of course, Dad's got to do that. Of course. But he gives us, and he's constantly evolving our system and our style. Like if we were teaching today in 2018 what we were teaching in 1965, we'd be out of business, right? He's constantly evolving and being ahead of the curve, and that's one of the things I love about our style. And I've been around this world. I've seen hundreds and hundreds of styles in martial arts businesses, and of course I'm jaded because my dad created ours, and I'm a little prejudiced to it, but I've seen a lot of the things that are out there, and that's why I love our style and what we do. But again, that's why now I'm out there being like, okay, guys, listen, whatever your style is, there's a basic business platform blueprint that if you follow this, I don't care what your style is, you will be successful in this business. You'll be able to take care of your family, you'll be able to take a vacation, you'll be able to do the things that you want to do and provide a great service for your community. Just follow this blueprint.
I love it. Self-defense, self-protection. What are your thoughts on that and educating kids at a young age?
My thoughts are yes.
Absolutely. The thing is that I've noticed this lately, and people are looking at self-defense and self-protection as you're teaching your kids how to go out and like kick ass or beat people up. Where do you think that came from? Because I notice it a lot.
I'll tell you exactly where it came from. Yeah, unfortunately, it came from the other industry I'm in, is the movies.
Yeah.
It's a misconception. Martial arts is very cinematic.
Yes.
So when you see, just look at it this way. The Avengers, DC, Marvel, all of these guys are using martial arts, right? So although there's not really any pure martial arts movies, like everybody's doing karate on film, right? Because it's so cinematic. So if you don't have the knowledge about what the martial arts in its core heart, thousands of years ago, was developed for self-defense and self-protection, right? So all good martial arts taught the right way that's what it's for. That's why
Yes.
earlier I said my job is to create a generation of superheroes, not super bullies. Even, all the guys in the Avengers and Marvel and DC Universe, their main thing is they protect those who can't protect themselves.
Exactly. That's why I wanted to hear it from you,
Right.
because you're such a great role model, and to hear it, the parents hearing it too. We just did a self-defense, self-protection class last weekend at the House of Champions, and it's amazing how people's perception of it. It's like, well, I don't really know if I want my kid go out on the streets kicking everyone's ass, and I was like, that's not what this is,
Right.
And as we dove into it, it was just the emotional level of people just kind of peeling away the layers and really understanding what this was all about. It was really nice to see the parents interacting and the kids, and just, at first they were kind of giggling and laughing and not really knowing what they were getting into. And it's also pretty intimidating too when you're going in and learning something new in that environment. But it's just seeing them evolve through the class through the 5 hours. It was just such a beautiful
5 hours? You taught a
experience.
5-hour class?
Yeah, well, I actually didn't. I was part of it. Yeah.
You're a rock star. That's a long class.
Oh yeah, I was like, why can I not move?
Yeah.
My body's been pretty sore the last couple of days. But what a phenomenal class, and also with guns and knives and active shooter scenarios as well.
Yeah.
So phenomenal job, everything you're doing. If we can support you in any way, shape, or how, please let us know. We'd like to follow you on social media. If you can tell everybody where to follow you.
You can find...
And get your book.
Yeah, thank you. You can find me everywhere. Instagram, you can just follow me at Real MK Scorpion.
Okay.
It's right there. Or the Dojo Doctor, if you're interested in helping your business go, you can just Instagram there. Facebook,
Okay.
same thing. I've got a Scorpion Facebook page. I've got a Dojo Doctor Facebook page.
Okay.
I'm everywhere: YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, LinkedIn. Just type my name, and I'm pretty easy to find that way. So
Chris
please follow.
Casamassa, and there's a
Yeah.
couple S's in there, so
Yeah, Casamassa.
okay.
Or if you just
amazing.
Google Chris/Scorpion, you're gonna find me.
So
Can you say Scorpion's line?
okay, Dan.
I can say the line, but it won't sound the same because they ran my voice through a computer. And in the movie, it was here's a great story.
Okay.
They wanted to keep it as original to the game as possible. So
Okay.
in the movie, that's not even my voice. That's the actual creator of the game.
Okay.
I don't know if it was John Tobias or Ed Boon, one of those guys. Those are the creators of the Mortal Kombat game. But they voiced Scorpion's lines in the movie. I lobbied for it, but that was my first big film. I had 0.0 on the power scale.
Yeah, right.
Of far, like, you're lucky you're in this, and we'll do it. But I got to voice it when we did the TV series. We